Not funny, but so not like 5 something.
It's so nice to see all of you. Feels like it's been too long, right? Like we're starting over this semester. Not really, it hasn't been that long. Did everyone have a good spring break? Anyone else have a hard time coming back today after spring break? I had 2 weeks off, so I was like, I didn't want to come back today. My family was all like, oh, I feel so bad for you. They all went back last week. Oh. Picture back there. Yeah.
Saw all you guys grants that one day.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. You didn't say hi?
I want to go bother you.
I don't mind. You could come say hi. I could laugh at me while I'm eating. Like, at least I didn't order cake or anything. It's like, I should have. Do they have good cake?
Oh, yeah.
I've never tried their cake. Good, let's go. All right. You should say hi next time. Feel free to say hi. I'll say hi back. Right. If you say hi to me in public. I had a great cruise, right? It was fun. I gained 5 pounds in 8 days. That's a respectable number. I didn't like they're still so pale. Like I was at softball. Like I thought you went on a Caribbean cruise in the lower Mexican. So I should have gotten some somewhere. I was telling my class before, my daughter Paisley ate 50 croissants on the cruise ship. I ate 33 and lost. Like we had a competition and she won. I was like halfway through, I was like, forget it, you win. She was eating like 8 a day. I was like, I can't keep up with you. But if I ate 33, that's 1 for each of you. And my class before this. And then I had countless pieces of cake. And I ate something for each one of you. I hope you felt it at some point. What was that? 50. Technically she ate 49, but I gave her 40.
They're like small, like
Yeah, they're like this big. I mean, they're like a reasonable like size. She ate, it was a 7-day cruise. She ate like an average of 7 to 9 each morning. Oh, the big ones? No.
Imagine.
No, much smaller. So I know you already had to see it, but I made a little video of our trip. Does anyone want to see it? I got lots of yeses. I only got 1 yes last class, so I played it anyway. So
And then someone's like, yes.
I know, right? That's true. I didn't even have a chance to finish it. So my partner teaches high school and she wanted to show this to her students. And so she made a version and then I made it better. No, I'm just kidding. I changed it afterwards. So it's like set to music and everything. It made me feel fancy. But it's lots of pictures from our trip. So I'll play it for you. And then it kind of sums it up well. So, and I mentioned this before to my previous class, but if you really could care less, just check out for 4 minutes, right? But otherwise I'll play it for you. Let me turn this down because it's probably gonna be really loud. Yes, the number of croissants will be on the exam. Yeah, that'd be a good one. How many croissants? 50. 50, it's a respectable number. All right, here we go. So I'll play this for you again. It's 4 minutes, but I think it sums it up pretty well. There we go. that. But it was a really cool trip. And the coolest thing, so my daughter, the one who was pretending to be Lucifer, which by the way, the principal laughed. He thought it was hilarious. So I went to meet with him and he's all like, he could not keep a straight face. He's all like, now you know this isn't appropriate, right? As he's busting up laughing. I was like, yeah, do you remember when we talked when she was a banana? He's like, I forgot about that. Right? Like, so luckily he was really cool about it. No, she didn't get in trouble. Like, thankfully, can you imagine? She's all suspended for that. But thankfully, he was all like, so if you could talk to her about not putting hexes on people. I was like, yes, I will talk to her. But here, I'll show you 1 second of this, or just the beginning. I didn't show this to my other class, but my daughter, Emma, she sang karaoke on the ship. Like, she's 8, right? And so like, she looks at us, she's like, I really want to sing karaoke. And I'm like, okay, as long as you know that if you get stuck, I'm not coming up there to help you. And my partner was like, you're awful. I'm like, well, you go help her then. She's like, I don't want to help her either. Right? So my daughter Emma was like, I really want to sing, she wanted to sing Flowers, but they didn't have it. They were like, we don't have that, right? And so she sang Mama's Broken Heart, or something like that. And so I have a video of it, and Paisley went up with her to support her. It was like the cutest thing. I screamed so loud. So it's like the whole video is like me screaming, right? But I'll show you just a minute of it because it was pretty cool. Here, I'll just show you the beginning because Paisley even told a joke for her sister. Like, I don't know where these kids get the confidence from. You couldn't pay me enough money to do this. Like, if my life was on the line, I wouldn't sing karaoke, like never. But anyway, here, I'll just show you a minute. That's obviously not my kids, but there's Emma. But they're next to her. People are so awful with their kids, but Emma's going up there next. We just sat there and drank and like listened to them and laughed for like 20 minutes. Okay, so here comes Emma. This is all really important stuff that I'm running to for sure. What song did she sing?
All right, the next one. To come up on stage, we have the youngest singer so far. It is Emma.
Woo! That's me screaming through the whole video.
Emma and family.
Emma and family. So Emma. I was just
all right, up to Emma. Jen, please be ready. Just Jen. All right. Emma, are you ready?
Oh, her sister
She's
went with her.
Guys.
I was excited for that.
Sister, what's my sister's name? Say it again.
Paisley.
Paisley, all right. Emma and Paisley. Are you ready, ladies? You start.
Take some pictures.
In 3, 2.
Take pictures.
Oh, it's a silent introduction, Emma. Do you have a joke?
No.
Oh, your sister has one. Okay.
So what do you call a fish with no eyes?
What?
A fish.
Oh, that's a good one.
Woo! Screaming.
With some rusty kitchen scissors. I scream her name till the neighbors call a cop.
Woo! Just hear me screaming the whole time. But she totally got there and sang karaoke. I'm like, what a kid. Like, I would never, like, literally, like Paisley got stuck halfway through Little Surfer Girl when she went to go sing it. And I was like, no. Cousins were involved. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. I'll move on, but like, I want to go again. I'm already planning the next one, November, right? I'm ready. I wish it was tomorrow, but it's probably good that it's not. My clothes wouldn't fit if I went on another cruise right now. I can't eat 50 more croissants this month. That's too many. Anyway, so we will come back. I'll focus back right away from that. If you're looking at our syllabus, it's kind of sad and crazy how little we have left of the semester. We have 10 classes left, and that's it, right? Including today and including the finals. So if you're not like counting today or the final, it's only 8, right? We're practically done. But we don't have a whole lot left of the semester. It's going to fly by from here. We're going to start chapter 13 today. So we'll talk about contraception and abortion methods, like ways to prevent pregnancy and then also prevent STIs. Then we'll go into chapter 12 on pregnancy and birth. Once we've talked about how to prevent it, then we'll talk about pregnancy. We'll talk about STIs, sexually transmitted infections. We have a guest speaker coming from the health center to talk about that. They love to show graphic images, so you can look forward to that. It'll make you want to wash your hands, is all I can say, like after that. And then we'll talk about a variety of sexual expression, power and sexual coercion, and then selling sex. That's the last chapter. So that's what we have on tap for the rest of the semester. If you're looking at the schedule, our second assignment is due on Wednesday, by Wednesday night at 11:59 p.m. So just to put that on your mind, some of you have already turned it in. If you haven't done it yet, Wednesday night, I'll remind you one more time on Wednesday. And then our final exam, just as a kind of a heads up. So everything from today forward will be on the final, right? The final's not cumulative. It's just a third exam. Okay, so from this chapter forward, and of course you have a study guide. The final will be on Canvas, just like the other two. So same style, same format. And a lot of you, it feels like a long time ago, but you all did really well on the second exam. Just a couple of things, the high score was 98%. The low was a 59%. The average 89.2. And the amount of time 58 minutes was the average. So a lot of A's, a lot of really good scores. We have one more exam, the one more homework assignment. We have a few more participation activities, but we're definitely starting to get down to it. There's also a little closing assignment that you'll do with the final where you reflect back on the class. A couple of you have already talked to me about that, but you don't have to worry about that for another couple of weeks. And then we'll talk about it together. But we're in the home stretch, right? And so our final will actually be on our last normal class day. And then during finals week, I'll be here and it'll be optional if you'd like to come meet or check with your grade or any of those things. So it won't be required, but I will be here if you'd like to come on that day to meet with me. So our last day is the 10th, which is 1 month from today. Just let that sink in. That's wild, right? Like it feels like it's going to go really quickly. So 1 month from today, and we're done. I feel kind of sad about that, right? That's sad, but we'll make the most of it. We're not there yet. We still have a month. So we'll get into this today. We'll talk about chapter 13. And I usually have a little activity that we're going to do in groups. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But let's introduce this first. I forgot. Oh, I did record. Okay, good. Like, did I start it? So what we'll look at here is we're going to look at some of the perspectives related to contraception and abortion. This has been a big topic over the last year. And it continues to be a big topic in our culture in the United States. Talk a little bit about choosing a different method. And then there are a bunch of different methods that you're going to be kind of working on a little bit in groups, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. But introducing this, just to kind of get into it a little bit, contraception or birth control is the prevention of pregnancy, either by abstaining, so refraining from having any kind of sexual activity, or using certain devices or procedures, things that might either prevent ovulation, fertilization, or even implantation. There's a lot of different ways that you can prevent pregnancy from happening. And these are often used as well to help prevent things like the spread of STIs or sexually transmitted infections or diseases, depending on which term you use. These have been around forever. Right, as long as we have recorded history, we have evidence of people using things like this. People tried to use all sorts of different things. In ancient Greece, they used a lot of magic and superstition and herbs to try and prevent pregnancy. The ancient Egyptians would fumigate men's genitalia with certain mixtures and different smokes to try and decrease how likely they would be to get somebody pregnant. Seed pods, grass plugs, and empty pomegranate halves were inserted into the vagina to block sperm. So this is something that we've seen around a long time. Sheep intestines. Condoms used to be made out of sheep intestines. We've come a long way since then, right? How frightening is that, right? Your face as I said that. Right, so we have a lot of recorded history of this, but we've obviously come a long way as well. Yeah.
One, I heard apparently that the Romans totally wiped out an herb out of existence because they used it as a contraceptive.
No, wouldn't surprise me. Right? Yeah.
So much that it was completely extinct. And then as far as the sheep intestine thing, yeah, that started, it was not that long ago, it was the 1800s.
I know.
We figured it out.
Right, only 200 years, right? People would literally use sheep intestines as a protective layer, like a condom, to prevent pregnancy.
Process of
Oh, really? Yeah, of how they would make that. Mm. And some of you are like, no. Now I saw a couple of you shaking your heads like, no. Yeah, I can imagine. So lots of efforts throughout time. This is kind of like a controversial topic. It always has been and continues to be even today. So in the 1870s, we had what were called the Comstock laws. We'll talk more about Anthony Comstock when we get to the last chapter, but he was somebody who was very against birth control methods, right? He put out a lot of legislation, a lot of efforts to keep people from having access to them. And then we have people like Margaret Sanger and Catherine McCormick, who were like very much advocates for birth control methods, especially for women, believing that if women didn't have access to these things, that it limited their choices in life. And so these two people played a big role in things like the pill becoming available. They would send out pamphlets illegally through the mail in order to try and give people information. So this is something that's been back and forth throughout time, right? Kind of Supreme Court overruling things, lots of legislation, back and forth and back and forth. And again, that continues even into today, right? There, Texas passed a bill this morning or last night related to abortion that's now like controversial, right? And you see this a lot in a bunch of different states right now, talking about contraceptive rights and what's available and what isn't, and what's your choice and what isn't. So definitely still something very relevant. Again, remains controversial today. About 60% of couples, if not more, are thought to use some form of contraception today. That was 10% in the 1960s. So this is a very common use. A lot of people use some method, and it's desirable for a lot of reasons, right? People can enjoy intimacy without fears of pregnancy or without fears of maybe acquiring an STI or an STD. It reduces abortions and unwanted pregnancies by quite a bit, right? Our rates of that have fallen. It helps to alleviate overpopulation, right? If people don't want to have more children and add to the population. Expanding women's access to higher levels of education and economic opportunity. But again, very, very controversial, especially when we add in religious groups, right? Religion has traditionally viewed birth control methods as like a blasphemous mockery of God's plan for the family. That's a quote that's often used. So we see this being, again, very, very controversial throughout time. But a lot of people using it. This is something that really should be a shared responsibility among partners, right? Like if you have two people who are engaging in some kind of intimacy, this should be a conversation and a shared responsibility. I have a clip that I think highlights the importance of having this conversation before the moment that you're engaging in intimacy, right? This shouldn't be something that you're talking about like as you're about to have sex. This should be something that you talk about ahead of time. If you've seen the movie Knocked Up, there's a great example of that in there where they're trying to talk about this while drunk and in the heat of like the moment and completely misunderstand each other. And she ends up getting pregnant from it. So I'm gonna play that for you. It's brief, but I think highlighting that importance of having these conversations earlier. Exactly in that moment, right? Just do it already. He's drunk, he's in the moment, he's distracted, throws a condom on the floor. She gets pregnant, right? So this really should be something that you're having conversations about when you're in your right mind and not distracted ahead of time. And again, it should be something that you discuss with a potential like partner. Maybe not the most fun conversation to have, but you should read and discuss your options together. People don't really attend classes or clinics so much together, but maybe you go shopping and get the condoms together, right? Do that for your homework assignment. If you needed condoms, you could buy them while you're there. You don't have to. You could share expenses with this. This is definitely something that should be a conversation. Maybe one person is using a condom and the other person's on the pill, right? It's very common to have like a backup method involved because these methods can fail. And we'll talk about that a little bit as well. They're not perfect, especially if you don't use them properly, which is the number one reason that these different methods might fail. And so when you're choosing a birth control method, I think it's really important to keep this in mind. Have this little quote at the top, right? There is currently not an ideal method, okay? One that is 100% effective, completely safe, with no side effects, reversible, separate from sexual activity, inexpensive, easy to obtain, usable by either sex, and not dependent on the user's memory, right? Other than abstinence, which would be not having any kind of sexual activity, there isn't a perfect method. Okay, so every single method that we're going to look at has its advantages and disadvantages. Every single one has a cost associated with it and an amount that it tends to fail, right? And some are better than others, but none of them are 100%. You always want to consider the effectiveness and cost, right? And again, every single one has a failure rate. Right? If used properly, how often it will fail. And things like a male condom, it's like 1 out of 100 that it will fail, but 1 out of 100 is still 1, right? And so oftentimes people, as I said, will have a backup method where they combine them together as a way to increase something being effective. It's also important to consider the side effects, how easy it is to use, and how comfortable you are using it. Like, you need to know yourself with these. For example, birth control pills. You have to take them at relatively the same time every day in order for them to be effective. So if you're the kind of person who's not able to do that, right, not able to remember to take something daily, then they might not be the best method for you. Now, you can double up and take another one, but it reduces their effectiveness. Other methods, for example, for women, like let's say you want to use something like a NuvaRing, which we'll talk about. If you're not comfortable touching yourself, right, you have to insert these yourself and remove them yourself. If that's something that makes you uncomfortable, probably not the best method for you. So it's really important to know yourself with these, right, and do a little bit of research. There are lots of different methods available, but they all have like aspects to them that are worth considering. And again, it should be something that you talk about with a prospective partner, right? If they are going to use a condom and you're going to use birth control, like, or do we want to use protection, right? Those are things to talk about. And again, human error is the #1 reason that these fail, right? People don't know how to use them properly. There's like 7 steps to using a condom effectively, right? And people oftentimes use them very wrong. They put them in their wallets and then they sit on their wallet, right? Or they get hot and they sit in the car and then they burst. You could very easily poke a hole in a condom and no one would know it, right? So these can be used very ineffectively if you don't know what you're doing. And I have one more clip of that I think is kind of funny. From 40-year-old virgin, right? He doesn't know how to use a condom. And again, that could cause some issues for you. Not knowing what to do. He's like, do I put it over like the balls or not? Do I blow it up? Do I not? What do I do? Like, he doesn't know. And a lot of people will practice this stuff ahead of time. Not a bad idea to do. You always want to check the expiration date, like she mentions on condoms, right? And make sure they don't have any holes in them. Right, but it's very common, as I said, for backup methods because they can fail, especially if you don't know how to use them or what you're doing. Yeah. Do they expire?
But why?
So they are made out of like a fabric that can get brittle over time, right? And so it's usually like a couple of years that they have for an expiration, but it can start to get like thinner and brittle and like, which would make it break more easily. They also, a lot of them have like a spermicide on them, and the spermicide will lose effectiveness over time, or they might have like a little bit of a lube on them, same thing. And you see him put it in his mouth, right? Like, bad idea. Like, they have spermicides and things on them that, you know, you don't want to be tasting. Was that your thought? Did you? Yeah, right. And so it loses its effectiveness and they tend to get a little more prone to breaking over time, especially if you're like a lot of men or people, like I guess anyone could put them in their wallet and then they sit on it. And then they tend to like squish or break as well. Not ideal conditions for storing. And you get them free here as a side note. I don't know if you knew that. You can go to the health center and pick up condoms for free. When they come in here to talk about STIs, they'll probably tell you that. But if you didn't know that, you're welcome. You can get Tylenol for free too. And apparently chapstick, Tylenol, and condoms. Right? You're set for the weekend. All right. So what I want to do, rather than talk about each one of the methods, something that I started doing a few years ago, and I think it's kind of fun, is I'm going to have you get into groups. And as a group, each group is going to get one of these items. Now, I want to stress to you, these items are for demonstration only, right? These items are expired. They've been touched by a lot of people. Please don't think these birth control pills will help you, right? I'm like always end up missing one afterward, and it frightens me. I'm like, please don't take these. These are old. I don't even want to know when this expired. 2008. Okay, don't take these, right? So what I want you to do, I want you to get into groups of like, you'd say like 3 or 4 people. Like don't do bigger than that. 2 is fine, but like 2, 3, 4 people. And then what I want you to do once you have a group is you're going to come up here and get one of these forms from me where you're going to put your name and your item. And I'll put these out here, and so it'll just be whoever takes whatever first. But we have a NuvaRing, we have the pill, so like a grocery store, like a pharmacy. I have Plan B, no, just kidding. Plan B, female condom, a diaphragm, a dental dam, male condom to go with a female condom. We have a vaginal contraceptive foam. Please don't spray this everywhere. The patch, and then an IUD. Okay, so it's not this whole thing. It's just this tiny thing at the top, right? So find a group of like, again, about 3, 4 people max. And when you're ready, come grab one item and then get started on the sheet. And then grab a sheet. Pick up.
Thank you.
Fair. Look at all the vouchers. Look at.
Sit down, we're done.
Sorry, look at like all the ones after. Guys.
Using your phones, using your technology, your computers, your tablets, whatever you want. I want you to take a few minutes, do some research on your item. Okay, so as a group, do some research. You can write it on here, you can write it on the back, on a pen and paper. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna give a little overview. Okay, give me like 1 minute, and then I'll give you another comment. An overview of your item and how it's used. Some of the benefits and dangers, or advantages and disadvantages. How effective is it? Right, so I want you to find that failure rate. And then any other relevant information, how do you get it? How much does it cost? Right, that kind of stuff, anything interesting that you find. And then what you're gonna do as a group is you're gonna present on your item just from your seat. Okay, so you can decide as a group, does one person want to share everything? Do you want to break it up? Doesn't matter, but make sure you put all of your names on here, directory anatomy, pathetic. Okay, so I'm gonna give you maybe, let's say like 20 minutes to work as a group. Jot down your notes so that you have them. I'll be wandering around if you have questions, but go ahead and start working on this and then we'll present on it afterwards.
It's the diet.
Yes.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Something should get that fun. I'm hoping for thoughts.
That's totally.
Yeah. One, yeah. But it's not. Yeah. One.
Yeah.
No,
So anything that. Yeah.
That's.
Oh, this. It's so probably hard. Harder than. No. It's so very hard. It's Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty big, right? Yeah.
It's the one. Take the starch in. Gelatin. Probably not. Yeah.
That's still. Yeah. That we said sixty. You're wrong.
Yeah, you know, you need the second topic. Well, stand up, yes. So what's the second topic? I don't want to.
Or you're just thinking less. Oh, really? Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's kind of scary. It be. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that. Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. So what? I've seen that before. It's like expensive. Yeah. And like that's a $50. Yeah. But yeah. Eleven, just. Yeah. Yeah. No one needs to know. I live like. Oh, you're. Okay, good. Just pay attention. And I kind of so. That's.
So one more minute. You're good. Oh, yes.
Like $15. No less than that. Like this.
I didn't. Ready to go? So all I want you to do from your screen, you don't have to get out. So you can share out. Anything interesting, all the stuff that you researched. I would like to ask one favor. It's daunting to talk in front of your peers. So please do your class with respect of not talking over them when they're talking, because that makes a lot of people anxious, right? So let's be respectful of that. We'll just go through them until we're done. You don't have to stand up or anything like that. Just from your seat. Anyone want to go first? Yeah, okay, go for it. Okay. Tell us what you had, obviously. Tell us your idea.
Okay, so we have Plan B for our contraceptive. So the use of a Plan B is to use after you had unprotected sex, usually within 72 hours. It's supposed to delay ovulation or like the release of an egg, so then you don't get pregnant. It has many side effects. And you can usually buy it at your local pharmacy. If you're under the age of 17, though, it says you usually need a prescription. So, yeah. And it also says this should not be used regularly or as like a like alternative for like regular birth control. So. Oh yeah, and then for this pack, in particular, you have to take the first tablet within like 3 days of unprotected sex, and then 12 hours later, that's when you take the second tablet. But I know some of them are like different too. You only have to take one, or sometimes you have to take 3 pills. So yeah, but
I just wanted to say that for any girls that somehow eventually needed to use the Plan B emergency contraceptive, it's usually so expensive in stores. It's like $50.
we're gonna go over that.
Yeah, but online, it's
Do your research before you buy it.
Okay.
I just want to.
That if you are over 100 pounds, you must eat 2.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yes, that's so serious.
Yep.
It said that in the very.
Very, very.
Yeah.
That totally reminded me, we went on our, this is such a random like side note to that, but we went on our cave excursion and they told my father-in-law.
Done yet? We're not done.
Not time, go, keep going, sorry.
Some is that it can be used as like an immediate emergency contraceptive after intercourse. It's 87 to 95% effective at preventing pregnancy. It's typically easily accessible at local pharmacies and can be covered by insurance if it's prescribed. It has a shelf life of 4 years, so it could be stored for future emergencies, and there are no long-term side effects like infertility.
And then some of the dangers, like you said, it can be expensive, 40 to 50 bucks. So yeah, do your research. I already done kind of order. It relates your menstrual cycle and like stuff up. There are some severe side effects. And it can be hard to get if you're under some things, you might need a prescription, and it doesn't prevent miscarriages.
Excellent, right? Anything else you want to add as a group? She has the instructions out, she's ready. All right, let's clap for each group because it feels good to clap there. But perfect, thank you. Any questions or other thoughts or anything you want to add yet?
So, right, if you. With the being over 150 pounds, 60 pounds, whatever it is, when you say you have to take 2.
You have to take double, yeah.
Will it be less effective?
No.
Even if you take double, no?
No, so you're taking, so the reason that it's based on that is just a hormone amount.
The amount of drug based or body.
Right,
That's.
right. And so they're just saying if you're between a certain range, you might have to take more in order for it to be as effective as it would be if you were under 150. Right, and it's only primarily effective within the first 72 hours. Take it much after that, it's not going to be successful. Right, or the odds of it being like doing its job are drastically low. Yeah.
There also is these days another emerging contraceptive called Ella. And I mean, you can get it through one place free, but it is the window of taking it is longer, I think. And I may or may not be right about this, but the weight thing might not be factored in it. It's like 3 to 5 days, you know, to think and be 3 days.
And I want to say that was compared to 225.
Yeah.
Like it's a higher weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different types, bunch of different brands. They have a range of costs. So, you know, if it's something that you need, you will research before you spend $90 versus I need a coupon. Although you said you found a coupon already. Right, because you can find them for a range. Who wants to go next? Next, yeah, back there, and then we'll go to you. Yeah.
So we have
Okay.
specifically a non-hormonal copper.
So IUDs, they're a small T-shaped device, and they're basically filled with plastic. They're inserted into the uterus and they provide birth control, and there's different brands. So there's like Mirena, which provides like it releases progestin, and that's what provides the birth control. But for coppers, it's just the copper and plastic. So that copper is released into the womb, so it just doesn't allow for like implantation and fertilizations. Yes, that. So IUDs are 99% effective, and they range from about 500 to 1300. But if you have insurance, it's a lot cheaper. Or sometimes it's even covered by insurance. The disadvantages include major hormonal changes that might not change over time. It might throw off the menstrual cycle a lot and make it very irregular. And then there's a lot of pain and discomfort when the procedure happens. And it's only about a 5-minute long procedure. It's not long, but it's really difficult. And then the advantages are they last from 3 to 6 years, depending on if it's hormonal or non-hormonal. Non-hormonal ones last, I think, up to 10 years. So it's less work than birth control.
So if you're somebody who doesn't do well with taking your delivery, that's a nice long-term method, but some serious disabilities as well. Anything else you want to add as a group? And we hold it up one more time again, just to point out, it's just the
It's
tiny
not
part at the
this.
top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, and that whole thing is like the applicator. Great, thank you. And then I think you all. Yes.
All right. We have here the female condom.
Okay.
Is, I mean, if you can't see it, I'll kind of explain what it looks like. It's like a normal condom, just like wider, I guess the girth is wider, and then there's like a silicone like type of ring towards the end that is like what insert and how you kind of get inside the vagina. But it's 95% effective if used correctly. I'm guessing the 5% is mostly like human error, storing error, like male condoms. They protect against pregnancy and STDs and STIs. They must be placed inside the vagina, or we found out for anal sex as well before insertion. Some complications are you can get pushed inside during sex, but you know they're easy for yourself if this happens.
It's recommended that you don't use male and female condoms at the same time, because something about the material makes the tear easier if you're like friction. They're single use, made of the same material as male condoms. Some advantages include obviously to protect against pregnancies, STIs, STDs. They're non-hormonal, so they don't have any serious side effects. The most serious side effect they have is irritation in the area because of materials or an allergy. They're believed to not dull sensation as much as male condoms. They don't need prescription and apparently wear them up to 8 hours before you use them, so some disadvantages include the apparently the application process interrupts sex because sometimes it can be tricky to apply, so might ruin them a little bit. The material is really strong, but they still have the capability to tear people directly. They're not as widely available as male condoms, and they can be more expensive, but they are slightly less effective. It's like that.
Right, and if you're looking at that, right, nobody chose the male condom. Usually it's the person who does, right? But big size difference, right? And then like you mentioned, the cost difference, they're not easy to find. And I love that you mentioned don't use them with these, right? The friction causes it to tear. So people are like, oh, if one condom's good, two's better. No, right? One is enough if used properly. Two actually causes a likelihood of tearing to go up the grass. So great, thank you for that. A few more months to go. Yes, I think you, and then we'll go over here.
So we have the diaphragm. It's this a small little ring thing. They're specially fitted by the doctor, usually for women. And the way it works is it's inserted into the vagina along with spermicide, which is key, really important. It doesn't work without spermicide. You need to keep it inside for about 6 to 8 hours after intercourse, just to ensure that everything kind of dies off before we take it out. And then it has to be replaced every 2 years. It's about 88% effective after ending pregnancy. It's latex free, and it's generally fairly consistent, but it does have a lot of cons. It's not covered by insurance, and a lot of times it can be really, really expensive. Because it's used inside and it's not outside, there's still fluids going into the body, so it doesn't protect against STIs. You have to kind of learn how to use it and insert it. And so a lot of times there's user error with the way it's inserted, and if you don't properly put it in, it could still cause like an opening to where sperm entering through. Spermicidal agents can be messy and sometimes cause allergic reactions to the women using them. The biggest issue is toxic shock syndrome, where if it's not clean, you can get huge infections, and that's really, really dangerous. Obviously, it can lead to UTIs. With the size of this, we talked about it being discomfort, pain, depending on the way it's inserted, or if it's like a first-time use kind of thing. And then it can slip out of place during sex, or sometimes even get stuck.
Anything else you want to add as a group or questions you have?
I'm saying, I think this is the one should least.
I would say there's one beyond, and that's the one that.
Oh, but I guess it blocks it.
So this one causes an incredible number. So this is the vaginal contraceptive foam, where it's a spermicide, right? It causes a lot of infections and irritation for women. And so this one I would say is probably the least popular, followed very closely by the diaphragm. The diaphragm was popular for a long time, but there are newer methods that are more effective. Like you said, it's only in the 80s for its effectiveness. So they're not super popular, they're expensive, but it is still something that's in use. Great. All right, let's clap for I think over here, right? You were one of the next.
So we took a new line. Basically you put this inside, put it behind the speakerphone, and it's gonna stay in here for about 3 weeks, and you take it out 1 week. So it is user aware, it's between 91 to 99% effective. It produces a low amount of estrogen and then progesterone. Common side effects are headaches, tissue irritation, ring moving, weight gain, painful periods, and a less sexual desire. And then the cost is usually about $200 without insurance. So basically we have to buy more in this month, so it's expensive. And then these are high risks, are other risks that not as common but still possible. This could be cardiovascular problems, blood clots, toxic shock syndrome, high fever, vomit, diarrhea, rash, muscle aches, dizziness,
18 allergic reactions, liver problems, tumors, trouble breathing, high blood pressure.
Started to sound like a commercial. Yeah. So, a lot of side effects. Any medication can have side effects, right? Those are, like you said, most of their ones. Couple of other, or anything else you want to add on that? Yeah. And the interesting thing about these two is I mentioned if you are somebody who doesn't feel comfortable touching yourself, this wouldn't be a good method for you because you do have to put it in and take it out. And you can use these as well to skip periods for women, right? If you pull them out, the hormones are gone, right? Then you'll have a menstrual cycle. If you want to skip a menstrual cycle, you can put it in one of them after 3 weeks. So just something that a lot of people enjoy about that. Otherwise, it's great. Then bring up a couple more minutes.
We got the menstrual, the menstrual patch. It's a very base. But it contains estrogen and progesterone. Hormones prevent illness on the place. 91% effective, but does not protect against STIs. It helps menstrual pain and healthy flows. Regular lighter filter. It has the potential to protect against ovarian cancer and pelvic inflammation and ovarian cysts. Dangers is risk of blood clots, heart attacks, strokes, liver cancer, gallbladder disease, and high blood pressure. Also wants to require finding a prescription for it, you should get from the doctor, in the public clinic, or local family center. It's also covered under most of the insurance plans. But the prices range from yeah, you have to wear it like every day.
Yeah, you put it on your skin and then again, when you took it off, you probably use this. So similar, but not as effective as when they bring in, like you said, nothing to help with STIs or anything like that. They do come in a variety of colors. Used to be skin already, but not inclusive skin tone. Yeah. Usually on your arm. Like you don't want to put them on anywhere too fatty or they don't work. So typically they tell you to avoid like your thighs or your stomach. Usually they're put on the arm, like up here. Typically, not always.
If you have something like a nicotine patch, could that possibly lead to issues?
Yeah, right. Interactions between the two for sure. Right. Yeah, you have a patch on each arm. Right? Can definitely interact. So that'd be something you'd want to talk about with the physicians. Yeah.
I will say that with any like hormonal control method, smoking makes blood clot and like stroke and heart attack risk a lot higher. So like a lot of time after 35, you're still smoke, they won't prescribe you.
Yeah, right. And if you're considered overweight, whatever that might be for the medication or drug or item, they're less effective. But yes, smoking and drinking very heavily discouraged with a lot of these. Anything that alters your hormones. We have a couple more. Yeah, go here. Oh, wait, did we clap? We didn't clap. That was like extra enthusiastic. I like. Okay, all right, ready. Great.
Contain either a combination of estrogen and progesterone or just progesterone. These naturally produce hormones. These naturally produce hormones trick the body into believing it's pregnant, therefore rejecting any incoming sperm. There's usually a week of sugar pills without hormones to induce a period every month, but only the uterine lining is being shed and no egg is released or grown. There are many side effects, but some include nausea, headaches, weight gain, decreased sex drive, fluid retention, and changes in fat distribution. So usually like birth control, sometimes women have bigger breasts or like wider hips, more feminine features due to hormones. More serious side effects include heart attacks, stroke, blood clots, and liver tumors. The pill can make someone's mood change drastically, such as depression, anger, and heightened anxiety. Birth control may cause women to find their partners less attractive or become entirely disinterested in their partner. birth control may cause an irregular cycle after stopping the pill, but can be regulated after 3 months. The effectiveness of birth control is 91% if taken correctly, and the pill can be prescribed by a doctor.
Yeah, and really important to take them regularly, right? How you're laughing at like, can make your partner less attracted, right? But like, I don't like you anymore, it's the birth control. And it can also be used, remember we talked about this earlier, it can be used to regulate a cycle to cause somebody to help them get pregnant, right? Because now all of a sudden you have a regular cycle. You can skip the placebo week and skip a menstrual cycle with them as well. And an incredible number of different types of pills focusing on different hormones. Yeah. Sure. Theoretically, right? Your hormones can be all over the place, right? Just naturally and manipulate and alter them with medication, right? It can happen. It's not the most common, but it can happen, right? Yeah.
Now, I feel like a lot of people that were on the pill, like, have gotten off of it, and like, because it can cause a lot of like problems too.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, for sure.
like that's what happened with me, like I was getting like, I was taking the pill and then it was like messing up my whole like system. And
Yeah.
I had to like stop it because it just was so bad.
Yeah, they can really cause a lot of problems. So the hormones can be disruptive for people. We have one more group. Let's on top for where they go. And then we have one more group teacher. We don't think you go ahead.
We have the latest sample down.
Sample them. Uh-huh.
And so it's basically a latest square that you put on the vaginal or anal opening, and it is used during oral vaginal or oral anal sex. And this one is not cheap, it's like one piece, and it's like $80 for one piece, and you can use it one time, only for once. And that's what else. Oh, it's really if you want to buy it, you can buy it like any drugstore. And it's good with preventing STDs. It won't prevent pregnancy, obviously, but STDs. And it cannot be used with condom at the same time. And you can use like any oily fluids with it, like
Like lube of any kind or
Yes.
anything like that.
And yeah, and it's good basically for STIs that are passed through body fluids.
So again, it's used for oral sex. So it's like a strip of latex that you would put over, typically over like a woman's vulva to perform oral sex on, right? And so they have a lot of issues. If you're not holding it tightly, right, or holding it properly, it's going to move, right? So they don't tend to be super effective, and they're kind of expensive.
Yeah.
But that one's stronger.
Yeah, it comes in flavors.
Imagine.
And outside, you can actually use saran wrap in the exact same way, as long as it's non-microwavable. Because microwavable saran wrap has small holes in it, so it doesn't explode. So it completely defeats the purpose, but you can get saran wrap in holiday colors, so it can be festive. Stop, right? Yeah, you're welcome for that. Next time you see saran wrap at the store, you may have. But that's how we use mainly for oral sex for this. Can use for men as well, but it's less effective for the side of the strip. No. Say go around and move on. Keeping it entertaining.